Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're going to be diving into the world of Navel Ravikant.
Oh, yeah.
You sent over this great collection of excerpts from the Almnack of Navel Ravikant.
It's a fantastic book.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this guy's insights on wealth and happiness are seriously thought-provoking.
He really does have a unique perspective.
Like, yeah.
It's fascinating how he blends practical advice for building wealth with these deep philosophical insights into living a good life.
Okay, so you've got all this source material.
Yeah.
Where should we even begin?
Well, to understand Navel's perspective, it helps to start with his background.
Okay.
He wasn't born into privilege.
Yeah.
In fact, he grew up facing some real hardships.
I read that he was raised by a single mother, and they struggled financially early on.
Yes, and those experiences really shaped his worldview.
Uh-huh.
He emphasizes how hardship cultivates this resilience and drive.
Okay.
It's almost like those early challenges fueled his ambition and pushed him to seek financial security.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how did he go from those humble beginnings to becoming this successful entrepreneur and investor?
It's interesting. He talks a lot about the importance of specific knowledge.
Okay.
He believes that true success comes from honing these unique skills that can't be easily replicated or automated.
So it's not
Yeah.
just about going to a fancy school or getting a prestigious job.
Not at all.
Yeah.
He believes that the most valuable skills are often learned outside of traditional institutions.
Okay.
He encourages you to identify your innate talents and passions, those things you excelled at effortlessly as a child, and build upon them.
He even shares a story about his mom recognizing his business sense at a young age before he even realized it himself.
Exactly. It's a great example of how we often overlook our natural strengths.
Yeah.
Navel believes that identifying and honing those unique talents is key to building a successful career.
So it's not about chasing the hottest job, but finding what genuinely resonates with you.
Exactly. And it's a continuous process of learning and adapting. He argues that the ability to learn new things quickly is far more valuable than outdated expertise.
I like that. It's about staying relevant and adaptable in a world that's constantly changing.
Right. And that ties into his idea of playing long-term games.
Okay.
He highlights the power of compound interest, not just in finance, but in relationships and knowledge as well.
Can you unpack that a bit? How does compound interest apply to things like relationships?
Think of it like this.
Yeah.
Small, consistent efforts over time can create massive returns.
Okay.
Building trust and reputation over time creates significant advantages. It's not about quick wins, but sustained effort over a long period.
Okay, that makes sense. So how does all this tie into actually getting rich?
Well, Navel breaks down the importance of leverage,
Okay.
utilizing capital, people, and products that work for you, even while you sleep.
It's about making your money and resources work for you instead of the other way around, right?
Exactly. And he highlights code and media as powerful forms of permissionless leverage. He's basically saying that with the internet, if you can code or create content, you have a massive advantage
Why does he call it permissionless?
because you don't need anyone's approval to start. You can build a website, write an app, or create a video and potentially reach millions of people
Yeah.
without needing permission from gatekeepers.
Right.
It's an incredibly empowering concept.
That's powerful. It really levels the playing field in a lot of ways.
He goes on to challenge the traditional 40-hour work week,
Yeah.
arguing that knowledge workers are more like athletes who need to sprint and rest.
I've heard him talk about setting a ridiculously high hourly rate for yourself.
Exactly. It's a thought experiment to help you prioritize.
Okay.
By setting an aspirational hourly rate, you're forced to focus on the most valuable tasks and eliminate or delegate anything that doesn't meet that threshold.
It forces you to be ruthless with your time and energy.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder, instead of grinding away for hours. Navel encourages you to focus on high-impact activities that create real value.
So it's not just about making money.
Right.
It's about having assets and systems that generate income even when you're not actively working, right?
You got it. That's the essence of financial freedom. He encourages building businesses, investing, or creating assets that produce passive income.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about building wealth. But what about happiness?
Yeah.
Navel obviously believes the two are connected, right?
Absolutely. He believes that happiness is a skill that can be cultivated just like any other. Hashtag TTS, The Deep Dive, episode 2024-11-10, part 2 of 3. He believes that true happiness stems from inner peace, not from chasing fleeting external pleasures.
So instead of chasing that high from buying a new car or getting a promotion, it's about finding a sense of contentment that's independent of those external things.
Precisely. It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already have.
Okay.
He's a big proponent of practicing gratitude.
I've heard him talk about how gratitude rewires your brain to focus on the positive.
Exactly. And it's not just some feel-good fluff. There's actual science behind it.
Oh, wow.
Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can reduce stress, improve sleep, and even boost your immune system.
So taking a few minutes each day to appreciate the good things in our lives can have a real impact on our well-being.
Absolutely. It's about training your mind to focus on the abundance in your life rather than dwelling on what's missing.
This all ties back to his emphasis on acceptance, doesn't it?
Yes.
Accepting reality as it is rather than resisting it.
Yes. He often talks about how much of our suffering comes from our desires and expectations, not aligning with reality. He encourages us to let go of that resistance and find peace in the present moment.
It's easier said than done, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Letting go of those desires and expectations.
Definitely not easy, but it's a practice.
Okay.
And Navel believes meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating that acceptance.
He's a big advocate for meditation, isn't he? I've heard him talk about how he meditates for an hour every morning.
Yes, he sees it as a way to quiet the monkey mind, all those racing thoughts and anxieties, and cultivate a sense of inner stillness.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like hitting the pause button on all the mental noise.
Exactly. And he encourages people to experiment with different techniques to find what works for them.
Okay.
It's not about sitting in a specific posture or chanting mantras.
Right.
It's about finding a practice that helps you connect with that inner stillness.
He even compares meditation to intermittent fasting for the mind.
It's a great analogy. Just like intermittent fasting gives your body a break from constantly digesting food, meditation gives your mind a break from the constant stream of thoughts and distractions.
So it's about creating space for clarity and focus
Yes.
in a world that's constantly bombarding us with information and stimulation.
You got it. He believes that stillness is essential for accessing deeper levels of peace and happiness.
Okay, so meditation and gratitude are key practices for cultivating happiness.
Right.
What about the people we surround ourselves with? Does he talk about that?
Absolutely. He's famous for his 5 chimps analogy. He says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
So choose your social circle wisely.
Precisely. He encourages you to be around people who are more successful than you when you're working,
Okay.
and surround yourself with people who are happier than you when you're not.
It's like consciously curating your environment to support your growth and well-being.
Exactly. And he takes it a step further, suggesting that you should be cautious about entering any relationship, personal or professional, that you can't envision lasting for life.
Wow, that's a pretty high bar.
It is, but it makes sense if you're playing a long game. Why invest time and energy in something that's temporary?
Okay, so we've talked about choosing our friends wisely,
Yeah.
but he also talks about choosing our values, right?
Yes.
Living a life that's aligned with our core principles.
Yes. He's a strong advocate for aligning your actions with your values. He believes this is crucial for finding fulfillment and meaning in life.
So it's not just about what you achieve, but how you achieve it.
Exactly. He emphasizes that your character and reputation are assets you build over time,
Yeah.
and they can create opportunities that others might attribute to luck.
So living with integrity is not just about being a good person. It's also a smart strategy for success.
He definitely believes so. He argues that by being a person of integrity and strong values, you attract like-minded individuals and build trust, which ultimately leads to greater success in all areas of life.
That's a powerful message. It seems like he's saying that true success is not just about external achievements, but also about internal alignment.
You've got it. He's encouraging you to define what success means to you based on your own values and then build your life around those principles.
All of this is incredibly insightful, but it also feels a bit abstract. How does someone actually go about identifying their core values?
Navel suggests that you examine your past experiences and reflect on the times you felt most fulfilled and aligned with your true self. Ask yourself, what were the driving forces behind those moments? What principles were you upholding?
It's about understanding what truly matters to you, and then having the courage to live in accordance with those values.
Right, and it's an ongoing process. As you grow and evolve, your values may shift and refine. The key is to be honest with yourself and make conscious choices that align with your evolving sense of self.
This is all starting to paint a really clear picture of Navel's philosophy.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting rich.
Right.
It's about creating a life of meaning, purpose and fulfillment.
He's encouraging you to question conventional wisdom, think independently, and create a life that is truly authentic to you.
And a big part of that seems to be understanding how your own mind works.
Definitely. He
Yeah.
places a high value on self-awareness. He believes that by understanding your own thought patterns and emotional triggers, you can gain greater control over your reactions and make choices that lead to greater peace and happiness.
So it's about becoming the master of your own mind rather than being ruled by your emotions.
You got it. He emphasizes that awareness is the key to breaking free from negative thought patterns and cultivating a more positive and peaceful internal state.
And this all ties back to his emphasis on meditation, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
He views meditation as a powerful tool for developing self-awareness and cultivating a calm and focused mind. He encourages you to experiment with different meditation techniques and find what works best for you.
He even compares meditation to intermittent fasting for the mind, which is a fascinating analogy.
It is. He suggests that just as intermittent fasting gives your body a break from constantly processing food,
Yeah.
meditation gives your mind a break from the constant stream of thoughts and distractions.
So it's about creating space for stillness and clarity
Yes,
in a world that's constantly bombarding us with information and stimulation.
exactly. He believes that this stillness is essential for accessing deeper levels of peace and happiness.
It seems like he's advocating for a more mindful approach to life overall.
You could say that he's encouraging you to slow down, pay attention to your thoughts and feelings, and make conscious choices that align with your values and goals.
And he doesn't just talk about mindfulness in a general sense. He also gives some very specific advice on how to cultivate good habits and break bad ones.
Right. He emphasizes the importance of identifying your triggers and finding healthy substitutes for unhealthy behaviors. He also suggests visualizing your desired outcome and creating a sustainable path to achieve it.
So it's not about willpower. It's about setting yourself up for success by creating the right environment and systems.
That's a great way to put it. He believes that by understanding your own psychology and setting up supportive structures, you can make lasting changes that lead to greater health, wealth, and happiness.
All of this sounds great in theory, but how does it translate into practical action?
Sure.
For example, how can someone apply Navel's principles to their career?
He suggests that instead of chasing the hottest job or trying to climb the corporate ladder, you should focus on developing specific knowledge in an area that genuinely excites you. He believes that by becoming an expert in a niche field, you create value that is difficult to replicate, which ultimately leads to greater earning potential and job satisfaction.
So it's about finding your unique zone of genius
Yeah,
and then relentlessly pursuing mastery in that area.
exactly. He encourages you to think about what you were naturally drawn to as a child,
Okay.
what skills you picked up effortlessly,
Uh-huh.
and then consider how those innate talents could translate into a fulfilling career path.
That's a great exercise. It's about connecting with your authentic self and then finding a way to share your unique gifts with the world.
He also emphasizes the importance of continuous learning. He argues that in today's rapidly changing world, the ability to adapt and acquire new skills is more valuable than outdated expertise.
So it's not about what you already know.
Right.
It's about your capacity to learn and evolve.
Exactly. He believes that by becoming a perpetual learner, you'll always be able to find new opportunities and create value in the marketplace, regardless of what the future holds.
And he also challenges the traditional 9-to-5 grind, doesn't he?
He does. He argues that knowledge work is not about putting in hours, but about producing results. He encourages you to focus on high-impact activities and find ways to leverage your time and effort.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He suggests setting a high hourly rate for yourself
Okay.
and then ruthlessly eliminating or delegating any tasks that fall below that threshold. This forces you to prioritize your time and focus on activities that generate the greatest return on your investment.
That's a great strategy. It's about valuing your time and making sure you're spending it on the things that truly matter.
And he stresses the importance of taking ownership of your work. He believes that by having skin in the game, you're more likely to be fully engaged and produce high-quality results.
So it's not just about doing the work.
Yeah.
It's about having a sense of ownership and responsibility for the outcome.
Exactly. He encourages you to seek opportunities where you can have a direct impact on the success of the project or business.
This all ties back to his emphasis on leverage, doesn't it?
Absolutely. He believes that by understanding and utilizing different forms of leverage, you can amplify your efforts and achieve greater results with less effort.
Can you give some examples of the different types of leverage he talks about?
Of course. He breaks down leverage into three main categories: labor capital and code, And media labor leverage involves having other people work for you,
Yeah.
while capital leverage involves using money to invest in assets that generate income.
And what about code and media?
He calls code and media permissionless leverage
Oh.
because they allow you to create products and content that can reach a massive audience without needing anyone's permission.
So if you can write code or create compelling content,
Yes,
you have a powerful advantage in today's world.
exactly. He believes that these skills offer unprecedented opportunities for wealth creation and impact, especially in the digital age.
This has been an incredibly insightful exploration of Navel's thoughts on leverage. It seems like he's encouraging us to think creatively about how we can amplify our efforts and achieve greater results in all areas of life.
You got it. He's challenging us to move beyond the traditional limitations of time and effort and embrace the possibilities of a shit. Hashtag TTS, the Deep Dive episode 2024-1110, part 3 of 3.
World where leverage is increasingly accessible to anyone with the right skills and mindset.
So we've got specific knowledge and leverage. What else does he see as crucial for building wealth?
Accountability is another big one.
Interesting. What does he mean by that?
He believes that accountability is essential for building a strong reputation and attracting opportunities. He encourages you to put your name on your work, take ownership of your decisions, and be willing to be held accountable for the outcomes.
So it's about being transparent, taking responsibility for your actions, and building a track record of delivering results.
Exactly. He argues that by being accountable, you build trust with others, which opens up doors to new opportunities and collaborations. It makes sense. People are more likely to trust and work with someone who's known for taking responsibility and delivering on their promises.
And that ties into his final point in this essay, the importance of playing long-term games.
We touched on this earlier, but how does it apply to building wealth specifically?
He believes that one of the biggest mistakes people make is focusing on short-term gains at the expense of long-term success. He encourages you to play the long game, build relationships, and focus on creating value that compounds over time.
So it's about delaying gratification and focusing on building sustainable success that will pay off in the long run.
Exactly. He argues that by playing long-term games, you create a foundation for lasting wealth, happiness, and fulfillment.
This reminds me of his emphasis on compound interest. He really seems to see it as a universal principle that applies to all areas of life.
He does. He believes that small, consistent efforts over time can lead to exponential results. Whether it's investing your money, building your skills, or nurturing your relationships, the key is to stay focused on the long-term vision.
It's a powerful message in a world that's so obsessed with instant gratification and quick fixes.
It is. He's encouraging us to be patient, persistent, and focused on building a legacy that will outlast us.
So to wrap up this section on getting rich without getting lucky, it seems like Navel is advocating for a holistic approach that combines hard work, smart decisions, and a focus on creating value that benefits both ourselves and others.
Absolutely. He believes that wealth creation is not a zero-sum game,
Yeah.
and that by focusing on creating win-win situations, we can all prosper and achieve our goals.
This has been an incredible deep dive into Navel's thoughts on wealth and happiness. It's clear that he's not just a successful entrepreneur and investor, but also a deep thinker who's dedicated to understanding the principles of success and fulfillment.
You've got it. He's a true polymath who's able to synthesize insights from various fields and distill them into practical advice that anyone can apply to their lives.
And one of the most compelling aspects of his philosophy is his emphasis on the interconnectedness of wealth and happiness.
Absolutely. He believes that true wealth is not just about financial abundance, but also about having a rich and fulfilling life that includes strong relationships, meaningful work, and a sense of inner peace.
It's about creating a life that's both prosperous and fulfilling. A life where you have the resources to pursue your dreams and the inner peace to enjoy them.
You've got it. He sees wealth and happiness as two sides of the same coin. They support and reinforce each other.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to remember that Navel's message is not about following a set of rules or formulas. It's about cultivating a mindset, a way of thinking that empowers you to create a life of both wealth and happiness on your own terms.
He encourages us to question conventional wisdom, to think for ourselves, and to define success on our own terms.
He reminds us that true fulfillment comes from aligning our actions with our values, from pursuing our passions with relentless dedication, and from cultivating inner peace that allows us to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life with grace and equanimity.
So as you go forward, remember Navel's words. The most important skill for getting rich is becoming a perpetual learner. Never stop exploring, never stop growing, and never stop striving to create a life that is both prosperous and fulfilling.
And that's your deep dive for today. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of Navel Ravikant's wisdom.